Good afternoon. Good afternoon to all our listeners. Good afternoon to members of the public. Those of you on commute, as always, to and from work. Those of you who are finishing your shift, and those of you who are going to your other job. Good afternoon to you, and good afternoon to the members of the Maxi Taxi Association, those who provide transport, those who provide the means by which many of us get to and from work. Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to the owners and operators of this great radio station, Mr. Neil IWER George himself, and his staff, producer, his family, and those of you who work behind the scenes to make this program an enlightening one at least. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to you, members of the pavilion, distinguished members, callers, all of you who call and add your 5 cents, 2 cents, 1 cent, whatever, to a very positive dialogue, discussion, and exchange. We do honor you, and we will always say thanks to you for engaging us. There are many other things you could have been doing with your time, but you choose to spend that time with us, and you do a lot of good, I would say, in making us see things a different way. And that is what the show The Third Empire is about. The Third Empire is not about the narrative that you know or you think you know. The Third Empire is supposed to force you to have another look at the situation. Have another look. Have another look. Consider things you may not know. Consider things you may not understand. Consider things that you may not be privy to. Consider things that you may have bypassed in your haste to make judgment or comment. Consider the things that are not always open to the naked eye. The Third Empire does the Third Empire asks you to have another look. Have another look. Rethink it. Reshape it. Reformat it. And maybe, just maybe, you may come up with a whole entirely different explanation. And we going to move into a different era of the show, and you will definitely get accustomed to our days, which will now be Tuesday, Thursday, and Fridays. You will not hear us Monday and Wednesday until further notice. And just strategy and reformatting the thing, though. No love lost. We still do honor and respect you and your time and what you help us accomplish on this program. But the Third Empire should be a show like no other that forces you to think and not regurgitate. We read the newspapers and we read the stories as is, not because you can't read, but asking you to analyze, to question. Nothing is wrong with that. That is what the Third Empire show is about. Another view. And before I go any further, good afternoon, Senior Matterson. Welcome.
Good afternoon and good afternoon to all our listeners as usual. You do a very good introduction on evenings, and hence the reason why we allow you to do that.
Yes, thank you.
Right? But yeah, good evening and good evening to all our listeners. I always like to give special good afternoons to those who listen to us in New York, for the most part, Texas and Miami. You listen to us and we value your concerns and your comments also, even when you don't make them on air. So good evening. Today is a very interesting evening, a very interesting time to be living, to be a part of as a citizen in Trinidad and Tobago. And there are a lot of issues that we would want to break down and analyze, as Ronaldo would have said. And you must feel free to chime in because you are part of the whole cricket show. You are you are in the pavilion, so you are looking at this firsthand also, and you have your views also. So we invite you to chime in from time to time on as we break down and analyze the issues. Yeah.
Jason Ade built his academic career studying race, inequality, and education, subjects that would later become inseparable from his own story. A sociologist, he became the youngest black person ever appointed to a professorship at Cambridge University in 2023. He had also allegedly lied about much of his life and work, and I underline allegedly, okay? Ade was only 41 when he was found dead on August the 14th. He had denied any intentional wrongdoing and resigned from Cambridge as scrutiny of his biography and academic work intensified. He had also become the target of racist attacks online, which continued after his resignation. The controversy over Ade has become one more about just the allegations themselves. For some, Ade's rise showed how liberal institutions could put diversity goals ahead of academic standards. For others, his own downfall exposed the intense and often racist scrutiny black academics face. Tyler Austin Harper, a former tenure-track professor in environmental studies at Bates College, who is now a staff writer at The Atlantic, told Morning Edition that questions about Ade stretch from his academic work to his medical history and his athletic achievement. Any one of these things may perhaps be believable, but the sheer accumulation of implausibilities made it pretty apparent that he was a serial fabulist. Harper said. Harper said he understood some of the discomfort around the accusations. The person who first publicly raised the claims about Ade had written about race and IQ, and Harper said could fairly be described as a racist. Harper added that supporters of affirmative action and diversity, equality, and inclusion programs worried that Ade's story was being used as a cudgel against those policies. But Harper also pointed out to Cambridge itself. He argued that some universities had created a culture in which black and brown academics could be treated as though they were to be black and brown first and foremost, and scholars and educators second. In Ade's case, Harper said Cambridge overlooked evidence that should have raised questions about his hiring. So where does academia go from here? In his conversation with the NPR's Michelle Martin, Harper offered no easy solution. He said that retreating into a defensive posture only deepened the perception that elite institutions were willing to acknowledge their failures. Now, Cambridge University Chancellor has criticized the racist feeding frenzy around Jason Ade, the professor who died after stepping down during a plagiarism row. Ade, who became the university's youngest black professor when appointed in 2023, had faced weeks of media coverage over plagiarism allegations and questions about his achievements. He denied the claims. Speaking publicly for the first time, Lord Chris Smith said academic integrity could be upheld while questioning Ade's treatment. Thousands gathered on Monday for a vigil organized by Stand Up to Racism in Trafalgar Square, where Labour MP Diane Abbott said Ade had been the subject to a vicious and bitter media campaign. Now, public figures and friends of Jason Ade have called for public inquiry into media coverage surrounding the former Cambridge professor before his death. Labour MP Diane Abbott and actress Jamila Jamil are among 30,000 signatories of a letter to the Prime Minister, which claims Ade's death followed 2 weeks of relentless harassment. The letter, issued by a group, Good Law Project, which had been representing Ade after he stood down from his Cambridge role amid a plagiarism row, said many of its signatories had warned media outlets about the intensity of their reporting. Lord Woolley, principal of Homerton College at Cambridge, said Ade had been subjected to a vicious witch hunt. Green Party leader Zach Polanski, the Labour MPs Bell Ribeiro Ade, Clive Lewis, Nadia Whitmore are among the politicians to have signed the statement, alongside England footballer Eni Aluko, National Education Union General Secretary Daniel Kibede, and broadcaster Carol Vorderman. It calls for an immediate public inquiry into how to ensure responsible press. Ade, 41, was found dead at an address in Battyshire, South London on Friday. He had resigned as a Cambridge professor of sociology of education on the 5th of August after allegations of plagiarism and questions about some of his achievements. He denied the claims. Now, I want us to stay focused this afternoon and talk about the responsible media. Responsible media. Because in our own context, we have had challenges to the media, to the role of the media. And the theory has been the media must be free to say what they want and do what they want, apart from outright contraventions and legal contraventions of defamation. So once the media didn't defame you, it's all right. But is there overreach even in free press? Should the press be totally free just to say any old thing? When Theresa May tried to keep Parliament out of the decisions about Brexit, Joe Moham founded Good Law Project. Powered by people across the UK, we built alliances to challenge the government in the Supreme Court and won. This way of working puts the law in the hands of the people, so that together we can hold power to account. As COVID struck, we started hearing hints and rumors of fast-track system for handling massive contracts to Tory friends and supporters. We set up an investigation team revealed dodgy deals for billions of pounds and challenged the government in the High Court, which ruled that the VIP lane was unlawful. There are many ways to win, both inside and outside the courtroom. Our campaign have helped set political weather, laying ground for Labour policy on taxing private equity, unlocking offshore wind, and reforming voter ID. We work with politicians, newspapers, and campaigners alike to broaden our reach and our impact, and we raise the voices of people pushed to the margins to help to take power of the law into their own hands. Now, this is an interesting group, the British group called the Good Law Project, which is a group that was supporting Mr. Adi. And it first jumps out to me that this is not a political group. Most groups in our society either belong to one party or another, which makes us very polarized. But in developed countries, there are groups that are as powerful, funded through public funds and asking, but they keep both sides in check. This group was founded when Theresa May tried to keep Parliament out of the decision about Brexit, which was a national issue. And I'm sure Theresa May then would have used the law on her side to do it. It might have been a good legal argument. But the law, as we always hear, has a morality of its own. And it can be used to do harm. We all know in our practice, what is lawful may not be fair and may not be just.
But you raised two very, very important questions relative to this article. And one of it relates to a fair mass media, but a media that will also protect sometimes the vulnerable or the persons
Correct.
who don't have the wherewithal
Yes.
to challenge certain things, right?
Yes.
I don't know if you ever read Noam Chomsky.
No.
Chomsky.
No.
His thing is on manufacturing consent. And to a large extent, if we were to separate what we know in probably the latter part of the last 20 years, mass media has gone from, in print, it has gone from analog to digital. It has gone now to Facebook and all the different social media. All that to a large extent is classified under media, and also in very significant ways they all play a role in manufacturing consent.
Yeah.
Depending on who are the buyers and the sellers and the whatever, you will say whatever you had to say to get the manufacturer consent, or to get that kind of buying on whatever you want to sell, whatever newspaper, whatever story you want to sell, whatever thing. Somebody put out something about me the other day about my directorship somewhere else, and it was highly erroneous, but they would have put out that because they had a particular agenda to sell, and of course, for them it worked using the same mass media. Yeah. So I guess we have to start since we're on the issue of the mass media and not necessarily on the issue of what the man was accused of.
Yes, no.
I guess what maybe we need to see laws. I mean, we have constitutional rights.
Yes.
And that is the right to freedom of speech and that kind of thing. But freedom of speech, as we were saying last week, is not necessarily confined, or it doesn't necessarily cover you from everything, because you can't say anything. You can't libel and slander and all that kind of thing. And some people, not everybody knows that. And which is why the more informal part of the media, we have to find a way to regulate that. Not necessarily regulate it, but to put certain safeguards
Yes.
so that people wouldn't, guardrails I should say, so that people wouldn't take advantage of other people. Because once you put something out on social media and it does damage, that damage is done. You know? Nothing you do after that, you could come back from that in most cases.
And this is the point with this gentleman, because they call it, I mean, and the law lords call it, the politicians call it a witch hunt. So there's a reporting and there's witch hunt. And the two exist.
Yeah.
And I know those of us who might support the witch hunt will just say, that is the media, free media. We cannot ban the media. We're not supposed to control the media. But in this day and age, given the damage that it could do, is that true? We saw what happened in the US with the Senate inquiry into Meta.
Yes. And how that goes them.
Listen to me. They did a scientific, surgical expose on Meta, and it cost Meta money. Good? So you are not just to say, well, I invent the app. It's just like that. It's up to the parents. It's up to the people. It's up to the parents to control the children. No. You also have a responsibility. And we often do not consider social responsibility of the media.
Yeah.
Everybody want to bust a mark. Everybody want to bust a story. You see it on TikTok. That is not your wife? I will pay it up. Is that your husband? We have become so...
Slaves of social media.
Yes. We have become so thirsty in ourselves. We do not consider the moral good of what we're doing.
Correct.
What you might say might be very true. But what will that do to the person? If it's truth, come up here and defend it. And bring the receipts. I see people publishing receipts and documents on social media to prove and argue things that normally long ago would have been the court and court only. And you would not even see the judgment. Good? But we have this inner thirst, this inner righteousness. Wrong is wrong and right is right. And this kind of a thing. And
settling scores.
And we take it to the Colosseum of social media and the public, and we put things out. But definitely there are people with mental health issues, as the court.
You know, it's strange you say this morning or today I was counseling a client of mine who had a client who had a mental health issue. Well, mental health issue, who attempted suicide and that kind of thing. And when you listen to the whole story, it had a lot to do with something that was put out there that was not about the gentleman. The gentleman was expecting something, and as a result, he attempted to take his life. And these things, there are serious consequences sometimes when we publish things or we put things out there that may not necessarily. You don't know the state of the mental status of the person who what you're doing, and we know most of the time you're doing it just for that. To destroy them anyhow by any means necessary. But this is serious, and some people must have some kind of protection against that kind of attack.
And we would wish that the media would self-regulate. But that in itself is not good enough.
No, well, it can't. It can't in the way we're thinking, because you just give the meta story.
Yes.
Sometimes it might be bigger than if only they could have probably applied some kind of AI to fact check certain things, and I don't know, maybe something like that. These social media these app creators and inventors or whatever who do like Facebook and all these things make billions of dollars from citizens. Maybe they should put some kind of safeguard mechanism, and I think that is what the the Senate maybe was trying to, in the US was trying to point to to protect people.
Yeah, because it is one thing to investigate truth, but will that truth do irreparable damage? And does the end justify the means? And I have seen it in our own local context, where the media, for or against, publishes certain things, front page headlines, and all sorts of excerpts and extracts. But nobody studies what happens to the family. But nobody studies what happens to the person. Is the person able to live a different life even if vindicated in the court? After they publish that on you, if the court say you're not a rapist or you're not a murderer, it doesn't really matter, you know.
No. that don't know say
Yeah.
That they're coming back, you know.
Yeah. And the insinuations and the leaks and, you know, funny enough, you wonder how certain things go hidden in this society. Because the kind of things that we reveal, it's like, okay, I would have never know that. You know, and okay. But does the media have a responsibility to the society? Should the media have a conscience then? That is my question.
Well, at the end of the day,
is it just grammar?
If left unchecked,
yes,
then people will keep getting the kind of benefits that they sought to get from sometimes making false statements or putting out things just to sell newspapers or to sell time or to sell popularity or whatever. People do it all the time. You remember the job of the media is to inform and to entertain and to some extent to control.
Yeah.
And that is to control and the narrative. Who pays the piper sometimes who pays the piper call the tune, and therefore sometimes there are people who have what they control certain things. They pay the advertising, they whatever, and they could control the
and the funny thing is, when you hear people say, I just telling the truth, I just giving the facts, one would want to believe that they don't have an agenda. And in this case, the critics of the media called out their racist agenda. So the fact that the gentleman may have been guilty of plagiarism, which is nothing new in academia.
Nothing new.
Good.
All of us plagiarize.
Yeah, good. That's nothing new in academia, right? It is not a right and wrong matter, but really and truly, he resigned as a professor. He gave it up, which is something we yet to learn in this part of the world. In Trinidad, let me say that we're going down to the wire with it. We're going to the court, we're going to the Privy Council. He stepped aside. But even after he stepped aside, it was intensified. The articles intensified, the criticisms intensified. What then is the odd? What then is the good? And in Trinidad and Tobago, I have noticed attitudes on both sides towards the media.
And sometimes it is perennial because the attitude only persists when one side is in office as opposed to the next side, and then it turns around after.
Yeah.
Right? So, it's just sad how most of these things are motivated by some kind of either hate or some kind of...
Everybody has an agenda.
Some kind of agenda.
Everybody has an agenda. So is there really free media? Free media. We tell the truth. We stand for integrity, unbiased reporting. You believe that? Do you really believe that?
Well, listen, let me tell you this.
You were in the media. You know.
The world, you have to understand how the media operate. The thing is, it's about telling a story. It's about the most sensation is who reads.
It's business at the end of the day.
At the end of the day.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at YouTube, I follow a lot of geopolitics on YouTube.
Yes.
But I don't necessarily look at the mainstream news.
Right.
Because I realize after looking at all the angles, what everybody have to say.
Yes.
You realize that consensus is being generated.
Yes.
But when you listen to the mainstream, the CNN and all, you hearing one agenda, one agenda, and that is the American agenda.
Yes.
And most of the time it's wrong.
Yeah.
But you had to read between the lines.
And you have to balance.
You had to understand how to balance.
Because the pro-Trump supporters are very pro-Trump.
Correct.
The Fox News.
And the media, exactly.
But the anti-Trump supporters are anti-Trump as well.
Right, but still, at the end of the day, when you look at America against the US, most of them are nationalists.
Yeah.
So it's a nationalist agenda, it's an American agenda as opposed to or as opposed to the truth.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't tell you everything, but you know how much people died and how much US soldiers died. They classify them as not war combatant and that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, people died, and the media wouldn't tell you that.
So do you advocate, from listening to our discussions, for controls? Now, censorship is a very sensitive issue.
And sometimes
very touchy.
Sometimes it happens involuntarily and voluntarily.
But let us be understand. Let's be fair. There are other circumstances where censorship is critical, especially in law. You don't publish everything about minors, you know. You know why? Because even though it's truth, they are minor. So let us not be hypocritical about censorship, and it's a repressive society. When you start to censor, there are cases where you should censor. There are information that might be truth, but if put out there, it will be very destructive.
Not only that, it might be truth for you.
Yeah.
You still have to prove it in a court of law, so it becomes alleged.
Correct.
And if you didn't do that, and you wasn't able to prove that, you might get a lawsuit.
Correct. So, what do you think? And give us a call on 342-0081, 466-5391 on the idea, on the issue of censorship, of guardrails, of controls to media in Trinidad and Tobago. I know we all are for free media, quote unquote, but should there not be a little watchdog to ensure that we do not destroy people in trying to make our money and sell the papers? Good. If I remember this is where I was going, I would have started with Sparrow Dead, which is a very, 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 very pertinent song. Okay. Sparrow says, stand up by the corner and hear people selling papers. Sparrow dead, he going to buy papers. Sparrow says, they says Obia kill him. He girl from Grenada kill him. They says the witch doctor take his life for singing Calypso. And Sparrow is saying, it's the news is selling like hot bread. Sparrow dead. Who killed the sparrow? Nobody knows, right? But everybody selling papers, Sparrow dead. And some of us must admit that we thrive on this kind of a bloodthirstiness. We only want to hear the latest. I hear the Prime Minister, so and so, you know. I hear Mr. Rowley. Yeah, boy, they say he's sick. We don't know what we have. Yeah, we are thirsty for some kind of news. Nothing is what it seems it is.
And then it's that manufacturing.
Yeah, and you call in here and you say, you believe them? You really believe that, Mr. Matterson? Because you have an alternative version, and you want it and you seek it. You want it and you seek it. Some of us are very, very, very insistent on that type of reporting, that type of news. We like it.
See, again, is the society kind of like yearns for that, and now you don't have to read news again. I mean, everything is in your WhatsApp chat. Everything is in on the social media. Some of them are video.
Yeah.
And all of that forms part of the content that is being manufactured, and to a large extent, who do it the most, or who puts it out more consistent will win the race of believability.
We want to know, and I'll make this because Dr. Simoy is with us. Hello, and I will make this analogy with her because it may fit in her. When they tell the story of Genesis in the garden, and the good Lord tell the man, you see that tree? Leave it alone. That only raises curiosity now, Why? Because you want to know. Some of us have this thirst to know, to find out. I see Stephen, that car, who was in the car? Nah, she, who was she? Nah, she not from there. We just have this thirst to know. We have this thirst to know. Things that things that readily don't concern us, huh?
Correct.
Things that
It's interesting you make that point about Genesis and the fruit.
yeah.
Because up until when I was a big man, I was thinking, according to the Bible, maybe our friend Dr. Seymour could tell us what the fruit is.
I don't know. If the Bible didn't say, don't ask me, I wasn't there.
Yeah, but think about it. I played it out in my head. God tell you, we tell you, right? But this lady covered her apple, and you realize she don't have clothes on. Like a hard one to, like a hard obedience because they don't eat off the tree.
This is
So
what,
yeah.
This is the question.
So we have this thirst to know. We have this thirst to find out. We have to find out. We want to dig. What's up? Get the latest now. Get the story. You on the page? 9 on the page. And it's misinformation, mayhem, commerce.
Correct.
And often enough, the damage you can't correct it. You can't undo it. And what is even more important, and we'll get more into it, if the time runs out in the next hour. We live in a society with so much fragile young people. I remember when at school, there was a young lady who came in at first form, and she was not very popular. She had a very hard primary school life. And she had a fight because she was a victim of bullying. And there was the other young girls in primary school. Listen to me. Some of you, anyhow, I don't want to say that. Some of you are raising some very, very, very terrible.
Children.
That's right.
Very, very terrible. Mean.
Right.
I just call them baby demons.
And they, listen to me, they really advantaged this young girl. But by the time she came to first form, somehow the video started to circulate again. So all who didn't know now. And she had a terrible first year in school. Now that happened in standard 4. But for what, and listen to me, they kicked that girl, they roll her all over. When she started to relive that, she became suicidal. She became suicidal. So we're living in an age where your father and my father tell we forgot our sharpness. Right? But these young people are connected.
That's right.
In that way, it affects them. So she papa status for me. And he papa, what? A status on somebody else's phone? that affects you? Yeah, it does. It does.
Correct.
It does. It encourages others to believe because when others see it, good, I now become a target. But if we leave the media unfettered, it will become a tool of destruction. It will.
Correct.
It can.
Correct. Simon, what was the fruit? Was it an apple?
Calabash. No, calabash is not a fruit.
What was the fruit?
What
What was the fruit that was forbidden that he wasn't supposed to eat? That he ate?
The knowledge. It was knowledge of good and knowledge.
What was that fruit, Gil? I mean, you are.
Did you see it there? If you saw the name of the fruit,
Call it.
No, but I mean on your sermon or whatever on a Sunday, I mean you must be able to explain.
You cannot assume you know what the fruit is.
You must be able to explain something. I will tell them what fruit. What kind of was that jackfruit? Was a breadfruit? What kind of fruit? What was the fruit? Because remember she had it. He wasn't supposed to eat it.
Yeah.
Both of them wasn't supposed to.
Right. And both of them ate.
you giving witness? You giving a testimony, sir?
No, I always wanted to find because when I grew older, I found out that it might have been something else and not apple, not necessarily apple.
Yeah.
Well, it's not an apple.
Okay.
We just come up with that.
Adam apple.
Well,
Do not let Mr. Madison lead you down that road, doctor.
No, I always wanted to find out because
But the media really plays a serious role, and it can be very, very destructive. Now we like to hear the media will highlight the truth, and if it wasn't for the media, we'd never know. But if you didn't know, it would not matter.
that's right.
There's some things you don't have to know.
That's right.
Sometimes I read the papers and I see things and I see like,
Slow day for news.
this is what in the papers. Like this matters to somebody. And the thing is, the things we really want to know, somehow we never know.
Thank you.
Correct.
Somehow we never.
Boy in Tobago.
Correct.
Which one?
The 2-year-old boy.
Yeah.
The fed to the pigs.
And what happened to all the others who somehow those stories disappear? Akil Chambers, we all hear about it. Sean Luke.
What went on?
It make it ring around the papers. But after the break we'll discuss this more, Mr. Matterson. This media in very organized and developed societies don't let those issues rest. To be fair, they may have their agenda, but they are consistent on those type of national issues.
Yeah.
Here it maybe takes 7 days
Yeah.
or 5 days, and that's it. And that's it. But we can't afford, this death of this professor was very, very, very unfortunate. Doesn't really describe. It really, really doesn't describe, because when you go into the deeper analysis of it, you'll see the disparity in how they dealt with his plagiarism and the sexual offensive of the other professors who have long lists of misgivings.
Yeah.
But after 2 stories, they kill it.
That's it. Yeah.
How come? One was found with very disturbing pictures of little children, sex, child pornography.
There's still nothing coming up.
That didn't. But somebody who plagiarized, and as you say, we all went that way.
Yeah, I mean,
If you went UWE or
before that had Turnitin, you know what paper you write over?
yeah.
You remember in them days?
Of course.
You read something and you rewrite it, and that
Of course, that's the area of dial-up in the library, and you write from what the book say.
you write and you try to interpret it in your thing. But
Yeah.
to me, that's plagiarism.
Yeah, but you had to take the majority of the book, say the assignment due tomorrow,
Because when Turnitin came into existence, even if you say something and you didn't read it from a book, sometimes it shows up as a percentage of plagiarism.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're doing the work and you're studying. I wonder if the lecturer read this book, boy. Because you want to quote a good paragraph or two, eh? You're studying, boy. This book too popular. There's the main text. How can you plagiarize from the main text? You can't do that. But we're coming back after the break. On the Turn Empire for more. Stay tuned.
You've got bills to pay, and so do we. Let's go pay some bills on the street 919 FM.
Peace of God be multiplied unto you in the precious name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. This is Redemption Hour, a gospel program where God will reveal His mind to you on how to live a fulfilled life and to please Him in all areas. Join Pastor Femi Afolabi, the National Overseer of Deeper Christian Life Ministry, Trinidad and Tobago, and other seasoned ministers for a time of divine encounter as they minister and pray for you every Saturday by 9 o'clock in the morning of this station, Street FM 91.9. Our church is Deeper Life Bible Church, number 1 Cochrane Street, opposite Tunapuna Police Station, Tunapuna. The times of our services are as follows: Sunday worship service, 9 a.m., Monday Bible study, 6 p.m., Thursday revival hour, 6 p.m. The redemption hour is a life-changing moment you cannot afford to miss. For special prayer or counseling, contact Pastor Femi Afolabi on 778-9933. God bless you as you listen to this program. Jesus is Lord.
KFC onion rings, bring the sauce, Come to the crunch like a boss. Add a ring, show me onion ring, in your ring, show me your onion ring. It's a ring, yes, it's a brand new thing called onion ring. Level up your order. Onion ring, chicken sandwich full of flavor. Add a ring to your twister. Somebody better go and tell the neighbor.
Show off your ring at KFC with the new onion ring chicken sandwich for $34.95, or get a regular side of rings for just $15.
Add a ring in your ring, add a ring.
TechFlex TT Limited, the #1 computer store in Trinidad and Tobago, has all your tech needs. We have the latest computers, powerful MacBooks, and affordable Chromebooks for school and work, providing new and refurbished options to suit everyone's budget. Also, we carry a variety of printer options and ink solutions for your home and office needs. Need repairs done? Our experienced technicians can solve your tech problems. Visit us now at any of our 2 locations, Wilson Road, Scarborough, next to Royal Castle, or Penco Street, Montrose, Chaguanas. Call 235-4919 for more info. TechFlex TT Limited. Affordable tech. Exceptional service.
Blessings in the wonderful name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. You are invited to listen to the Final Hour broadcast heard every Monday
from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. in the morning on the Street 919 FM.
Hear my mom, Pastor Helen Garcia, and myself, Pastor Valentine Garcia Jr., preach the Word of God to the elderly, youth, and children. We can be contacted at 629-0113 or 623-8444. The church is located at 26 Prince Street in Port of Spain. We look forward to you joining us. God bless you.
As my life I lay it on the altar, as my life.
It's KFC in the cricket. Crunch up that crunch. Crunch up that crunch. Crunch up that crunch. Doing it the KFC way. Crunch up that crunch. Crunch up that crunch. Crunch up that crunch. TKR all the way. Passion inside the way. Bringing the energy. It's chicken for all the way. KFC got way. When we come out to play, nothing can bother way. Winning is part away. TKR all the way.
Grab your maximum crunch bucket today with 6 pieces of chicken, 1 regular popcorn chicken, 4 regular sides for only $144.95. Crunch after crunch with KFC.
Share the live. Share the live. The Street 919 FM on Facebook and Instagram. Share the live. Iowa George on Instagram. Share the live. Iowa TV and Street TV on YouTube. Share the live. The Street 919 FM.
Yes, so good afternoon, and we're back, and we're talking about controls of the media controls, be it censorship or other forms of control. Do you believe, given what you have read in the public domain in Trinidad and Tobago, via the media, about anything, we don't really take care of one thing in particular. Either we hear somebody selling drugs, or somebody is this big. Do we believe that these stories, true or not, can have untold damage to the person, to their character, to their family? When you see things, you can't take that back, Therefore, we can't leave it up to the media, which by right is a business. They try. It's just like the cocaine dealer, He telling you, well, boy, I run in a business, it's up to you to buy. I don't really force you to buy the cocaine, I have my market. And the media will tell you, well, we in it as a business, and we print it, we fact check it, we really hear that somebody see this fella coming out by double palm, and we tell the story. That is what we're supposed to do. The media does tell the truth, and the truth has no color, and the truth, and we put it across to be very objective, not understanding the destruction it can cause, and what we say. And I've seen it on both sides of the political divide. That is even worse. Some exchanges between red and yellow, yellow and red, they do nothing for our young people. They do nothing for our young people. As a matter of fact, if that is what's going on in Parliament, I can't wait to say what I have to say too. Because that is what we show, and that doesn't, you can't take that away. And then you'll hear somebody tell you, that politics. Yeah. If you can't stand the heat, stay out of the kitchen. So politics says I can say anything about you, your granny, your great-grand, everybody.
Parliamentary privilege.
But even on the social media, you have some people getting out there
Yeah.
We have a problem with when the youths behave like that.
Yes.
I don't understand. As a matter of fact, where's the pride and the dignity that came with being in government? I mean, we could say what we want about politicians, but at some point there was a level of class. There was a distinction
Statesmanship, yeah.
that was related or connected to being in office. And to me, what it looks like is just a little parlor. There's a parlor going on here.
Yeah. And
the same as when I was growing up.
we call it journalism, but really and truly, we selling a story. And if nobody buy the story, we will say the journalism was bad. So we measure journalism by...
Well, the thing is, news have two elements.
Go ahead.
It have the news, which is supposed to be factual reporting.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it have comments or editorials, which might be a man's opinion. And to a large extent, sometimes when we start mixing the both of them is when we start having problems. When we start mixing, there's a particular news outlet I listen to, We On News.
Yeah.
That's an Indian station.
Yeah.
Right? International. And they sometimes they mix it because you hear the commentator will say things like and this is how they feel or this is what they think, very emotive. So to a large extent, we see when we mix that two elements of news reporting, the facts and the opinion, that's when we just fall in the that's where we sometimes start trying to manufacture consent and we start falling into the realm of all the problems we're talking about right now.
So the number to call is 342-008-1466-5391. Do you think we need more responsible media in Trinidad and Tobago? Do you think we need more responsible media and media in general? Even sometimes and progressive societies have started. I've seen it in New Zealand, I've seen it in Australia, I've seen it in England, I've seen it in the US. They've started to legislate, not even leave it up to our conscience, the limits of the media and the limits of the usage of social media. Because if you leave it to a 15-year-old, you know what will happen. If you leave it to a 14-year-old, you know what happened. It doesn't discern, it doesn't distinguish for you. So progressive societies have said, okay, listen, we not only want the innovators and the inventors and the owners of these type of social media to do what they have to do, we're going to make a national guideline for our youths, for our...
And the sad thing about social media, because it have limited guardrails, right?
Yes.
So somebody posts something bad about you, while you might be able to fact check it and take them for libel or something like that, hundreds, probably thousands of people reading that could now share that.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily, unless of course the court order that they don't necessarily see themselves as having any risk of anything of any risk of libel or anything from sharing it.
Yeah.
But unless we have laws
to
protect people from that kind of thing, but then again, it will be difficult to even protect people against that. And that's the dangers of putting up the wrong things about people on social media.
The number to call again is 342-008-1466-5391. I've seen in our own country, especially on the political hustings, some very, very awful stories about people. I've seen it, and I do not doubt the truth of it. What I have doubt about is the utility of it. What good is that? Okay, that man and his wife no longer together. Okay. All right. Is your story going to put them back together? Or your story is going to damage the children of the separation? because children have to go to school, and you always hear children, daddy or mommy, I getting heckled in school.
Yep.
You know, they're saying this, my father was on papers, my father was on, and we often don't think about these things when we take out our phones, eh?
Of course.
You know, it will be interesting to hear what the pavilion had to say about this, because this have some other consequences, unintended, that if we move in the direction of legislating certain things could end up being seen as, it's like how we treat with things like affirmative action.
Yeah.
Right? So I really want to hear what the public, the pavilion had to say about probably this, not necessarily legislation.
Yeah.
But
when these things happen, our democratic sentiments are riled up.
Yeah.
There's a democracy. Say what we want. We do what we want. But that comes at a cost.
Of course.
And often
it's not unbridled, you know. It's not unbridled. So you had to understand.
And the media is no different, because their reach is sometimes, well, most times it's far reaching. When that story hit the front page, now whether you innocent, guilty, or indifferent, there's an idea. You might sue, and they might settle outside a court or via court. Years to come, people say, that is the man who they say was by the little boy.
That's right.
Because that doesn't go.
Sometimes people say things about people, sometimes even unknowing to the person they say things about.
Yeah.
And you losing credibility and interest and everything because of that. And you don't even know that is what has been said about you.
Yeah. So we really need to consider the media and the role the media plays in a democratic society, because the media can also be very undemocratic itself. If left unfettered. And I will repeat, I have heard very unfortunate comments about green batting side and bowling side members that I found were very unsavory. You know, I would found it was very.
You don't even want to think or repeat.
Yeah, it was not. It was, you know, inside and outside the parliament. And even if it was said, the fact that it was repeated, that's the other problem we have. You know, you don't repeat everything you say. That's one thing you used to get a little pinch mouth for when you were small. You do. Yeah. Not, you can't say you hear uncle cursing and curse no. You hear uncle cursing. The slap you will get.
Kissy monkey.
Going too far that people's integrity now, we just ripping it to shreds. So in my mind, I'm going back to that story with two individuals and the two.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as that lady will try to do different things, nobody's going to see all the stuff that she's doing to help people go back to school.
And it came up in the political hustlings.
Yeah.
When she was offering herself for service which had nothing to do with her private life, nobody could see beyond.
So that's irresponsible. How did it even reach to that? Why would somebody, no matter how upset you are with somebody, why would you do that and put that private moment out there?
And some of us are crazy enough to go and confess to social media, you know. Olia, let me tell all the truth. Nobody cares. Hush, please don't tell us.
Like we don't want to be the group chat. Keep that to yourself.
I read a quote that said, confession will be good for your salvation, but bad for your reputation. God might understand you.
What man would?
A man who confessed, I guess he changed his life now, and how he had all of these special places.
Yes. The trafficking, the guy was involved in sex trafficking, and God save him. And all what people want to hear is the jolly good old time.
No, saying that this man was a pastor, right?
He's a pastor now. He wasn't.
So he shouldn't tell a story as to what made him redeem him.
I think sometimes you have to use wisdom if you come from so far.
Correct.
Make a story. The story
you
style.
wouldn't want to publicize that there. Okay. There are some things You use for separate.
And now keep your testimony yourself.
You see the challenge with that is...
You go and testify and you say you was abandoned. And see if the family will forgive you.
The challenge with that will be that, there are people who may know what kind of life you live.
That's okay.
That kind of thing. And they may end up putting something all that may not make you less credible. I mean,
and
why
you can't stop that. I just feel like there are some things you will have to find another way. You could talk about you were in a very sinful life and things that you did that wasn't pleasing to God. You make some changes. You don't have to give me the full thing.
So you have lived a sinful life? You did things that was not pleasing to God. I just asked.
You just asked.
All I've seen and
come short.
We all have.
Her private acts are not fit for media, right? That's what I can tell.
When I look at Seymour, I don't even think that kind of thing. I don't even think... I see Seymour as an angel.
Oh gosh, don't put that there now.
No, I'm telling you.
People who was playing there just throw you down with them.
I know Miss Sandy Ford since she come out secondary school.
Alright.
So,
you know her since she was ordained.
Yeah, she was ordained before that. She was ordained from birth.
Oh my God. The number to call is 342-008-146-65391. And we're not any members of the pavilion. What do you think about media controls? Media controls. We ain't talking enough PNM and UNC.
Yeah, so once we ain't talking PNM and UNC.
I don't. We will get there because we need to talk about the visa man and who take visa and all our visa stories seem to be trending.
Even that story seemed to have pockets that we didn't fully understand yet.
I don't understand the story. I don't.
So is it that his visa was taken?
Yeah, apparently yes. Yes.
I'm trying to understand why.
But that is not even something I will come to the public. That is what my problem with it.
No, but if you have visa, right?
I'm
just trying to figure out that whole story, yeah. Because what they just have diplomatic visas, right, or something like that to that effect, right?
But they take back to it.
Let me hear what Chris. Good afternoon, caller.
Good afternoon to the Empire and to your listeners. Media. One of the challenges we have with the media is that the media will have previous information or data, right? And when they go to somebody else, or could be the same person to ask them something else, if the person's stance changes, they don't present the data that they have and question what made you change your mind. So the media just runs with anything at any time. Today, you could be championing a cause for whatever, Mr. Rodolph, and tomorrow you change your tongue, and they will run the two stories and make no nexus, no connection, and ask you, well, what made you change your mind?
Yeah.
Right? And the level of, I don't want to say illiteracy here, but a portion of that and lack of knowledge that is saturated across the country, right? As the good book says, the wise will continue to live off of the foolish, because when we go along with whatever comes out in the media and not really go through certain things with our fine-teeth comb, that is why you will find many of us all over the place sometimes and not able to identify certain things, what is really glaring in front of us. I find the media doesn't really put it to people, hey, you can't be half pregnant, right?
Yeah.
It's either this or that. Because you said this today, and yesterday, this is what you said. That is highly lacking in terms of our media, in terms of what they do. or something else Oli was talking about, but yeah, that is my opinion in terms of how the media is operating in this country. Wherever story they get, they run with. They don't bring no clarity to any inconsistencies or nothing like that. They just run with it and leave it out there.
Did you report Prime Minister Rowley and had his visa revoked? Did you report him?
Well, on that matter, right now, the majority of what Dr. Rowley says, in my opinion, is falling on deaf ears. Because you now leave a position, not by losing it, but by passing it on, handing it over, while you still wanted to hold on to the leadership of the party. And it's just with the little bacchanal noise in the country that you was forced to kind of do the right thing. Nonetheless, you were in a position where almost anything that you had a challenge with or foresee it being too much power for politicians, you could have treated with it, right? And you see, and I was appreciative that what they did, Dr. Rowley and Faris and them, was move that arm of investigating politicians from under politicians and put it with the police. But now, without any announcement, Ms. Prasad Bisesa and them now bring it back underneath the politicians. But just like what Dr. Rowley and them did in moving that, he could have made some provisions where the state have no interference or have no no weight in terms of interfering with people, visas and whatnot. But they left it so don't vex now because the power that you have, somebody is flexing it and not flexing it in your best interest or for your benefit. Sit down and relax in your retirement and draw taxpayers' money.
Yeah, well, the $1 million man. I mean, if you had $1 million, would we hear from you as often? if you had $1 million pension,
boys,
would you be calling me program still on the evenings?
I might have sponsored our program, but I may not have called so much.
Thank you, caller. Thank you. Well, from the news, what we read, the Prime Minister clearly said that is for the U.S. State Department. Again, we seem to think that the Prime Minister call a shot because we so accustomed to that in this, So the Prime Minister called Mr. Trump and say, blank them two fellas. Why? Because I say so, I ain't like them. And he did it. That's what we believe. Good afternoon, caller.
Good afternoon, Mr. Rollocks and Mr. Moyer.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Mattis. Yeah. I think you're dealing with the press.
Yes, the media.
That fourth estate.
Yes.
And again, it's protected by the Constitution, freedom of the press. And they talk about democracy is one of the more critical elements or characteristic of a democracy. But in Trinidad, what has happened and again, I want to say that the media has to be, touted as being just, fair, independent, impartial, and those sort of things. But over the years, we have seen a change in the role of the media in terms of its the politics.
Yeah.
Right? They seem to take sides. And again, it has to do with the ownership, who own I'm talking about not just the print, the electronic media also.
Yes.
You see that whatever the interests of the owners of the media, whatever their interests, they go there. And that is not just in Trinidad, it's international. You see it in England, you see it in America,
yes.
You see it with CNN, you see it with MSNBC, you see it also with even Al Jazeera too, if you look at it clearly.
Yeah.
You see certain biases there in all the media. And Trinidad is no exception. When you sit down and you listen or you watch the television, some people, even in terms of the facial expression, as I say, the body language, everything, you see how they manipulate the news and all that kind of thing. When you read the newspaper, you see, look at the headlines or the caption, and when you go down into the body of you see totally different. And people say, well, that's, the headlines is merely to sell the newspaper, but I see it as mischief.
Yeah.
And so that is where we are with the media, and they have lost a lot of credibility. I believe if the media in Trinidad and Tobago, you realize that people are not patronizing some of the more prominent print media because of bias. And if they would be fair, if they would be just, if they would be independent, they would sell more papers. Because some years ago, when I spoke to people, I don't read papers, but I don't read papers. And talk about people who are not, some people who are apolitical, some people who, because they take sides. They're on one side. Like my party, I work like mercenaries. They work for political parties. They support they look after the interests of the employers. That is the owners of the media houses. So that is where we are with it. And most times, people really don't. You go through the newspaper, and from the time you read the first paragraph, you get a thesis statement, and you look at it. Sometimes the thesis statement could be in the middle, it could be in the bottom too. So you just read the first paragraph and you see where they're going, and probably look at the last paragraph, and that's it. But that is where we are with the media, and the media has to improve. They have to change the way, because they are suffering.
Yeah.
Because they are not profiting. The profit margin declined. In fact, some of them have gone into losses. Sometimes you look at the electronic media during the day, the radio, and political. They're playing music, the calypsos and the songs that the whole day, just politics. And when I say politics, it's as if you're in war. So I don't know. They need to look at themselves seriously.
Cole, I know you look at international news as well. Did you follow Professor Ade's story, the Cambridge professor who died?
Well, I didn't go too deep into it, but I heard it on Sky.
Yes.
And but these things with Professor Ade, we talk about racism. I mean, England is a racist country. You know that. The average British, whether white or black, whether Indian, Paki, or whoever, they will tell you that.
Yeah.
So it is nothing new, and they accept it. They know that.
Yes.
It's accepted. So that is where it is, and how I don't, because you see, again, the growth of the far right.
Yes.
And people, like, things are not going to change, like Nigel Farage and them. It's going deeper, and and he's becoming more popular, and therefore I don't think that things are going to improve in the near future, because people are buying into the sentiments and the doctrines as set out by Nigel Farage and all these people.
Yeah.
And some of the other parties. So I don't think it's going to get better.
Yeah.
It's going to be a hard fight. They're going to be struggling on. And you see it even in Germany, the rise of the far right. You see it, well, Canada seems not to be too much, but it's there too, but it's not as strong as in those other countries.
Well, I know you are also well acquainted with how diplomatic things function. So do you see any credit in Dr. Rowley's allegation that the government can have influence in the revocation of his visa?
Well, I have to be careful, you know. I have to be very, very careful. I don't have money to put in, you know, pay people compensation and that kind of thing. And I don't want to go there at all.
Okay.
Right? But what I'm saying here is this, is that if the Americans choose to put sanction, well, it's a form of sanction.
Yeah.
Because I have seen throughout the Caribbean, I saw it in Grenada recently.
Antigua.
The finance minister, he lost his visa.
Yeah.
Right? They took it away from him. They have imposed tariff in Dominica, Antigua, and other countries, and other persons from even Antigua. So what I'm saying here is this, is that if you don't conform to what the government, the present government in the United States want, or they wish of you, you pay a price for it. And the question about, I don't want to get into that really, but if they choose, or they would have chosen to impose whatever sanction, whatever penalty, or if you see it as a punishment, well, they may have their reasons for doing so doing.
Well, the reason why I raised that issue is for two reasons, right? I certainly remember under his stewardship, the gentleman, the former prime minister, the good farmer, saying, listen, they could take the visa. I remember that, an open statement. So I didn't think it was an issue. He said that they could take the visa. What are they going to do? Take the visa? And I think that was a stand by, I saw Mayor Motley said it. And often we say these things hoping that it doesn't happen, but it happens. That's the first issue. The second issue is that if you're applying now for different types of visa, the American consulate will ask you about your social media handle. They'll ask you if you're involved in anything political, because they checked. And as the release from the consulate rightly stated, that it's a privilege and not a right. But what puzzles me is to figure that, you know, like when you're sick, people will say somebody do you something, so you can't get sick. You can't get sick anymore.
Well, you see what happened to that here. Some people believe we still in the past we live antiquated life.
Yeah.
We don't understand that the technology,
yes,
the thing of intelligence,
yes,
and the fact that those large countries, more developed countries, those powerful countries,
they farm it, yes,
they know everything that happens in Trinidad.
Yes.
They give you releases on crime and tell you exactly where not to go.
Yeah.
That should be an indication that they know everything. And they warn the people, don't go on Charlotte Street, don't go around the Savannah, don't go in Laventille.
And they don't take it back. They don't withdraw it.
Right. So they watch. Why you think they put this big embassy is somewhere in Marval there?
Yeah.
Over, I think about close to $500 million.
Yeah.
That is not. They're watching their back.
Yeah.
They have those. They survey everything you say. Nobody ever going to tell nobody that you say that.
Yeah, correct.
They know what they hear and what everything you say.
Yeah.
That's the technology.
Yes.
That is where it's going. We still living in the past. You believe that they don't know what's going on and somebody other going to tell them this and tell them that. Whatever you do, who come here in Trinidad here during COVID, they know that. They know all that happened. Nobody had to tell them that. You leave and you go to another country, they know. They know who your friends, they know who you jamming with. Everything. So I just that people have to be very careful.
Yeah.
And understand that whatever you say, whatever you do in Trinidad, eyes are on you. And therefore you have to be careful. Careful what you say, who you say about, because you may pay a price for it. And some people were warned about it. But
Yes.
they didn't take it on. They believe that anything goes.
And
That
we
is
wanted the
Trinidad.
Prime Minister to go the same route. And that's why I said to people, I mean, despite how we feel, as the leader of the country, she could not have gone that way. It would have been harder on us.
Well, the thing about it is this. One would go back. And I would say, if the last regime
Yeah.
was in power when Trump decided to do what he wanted to do, and there was resistance by the powers that be, what would have been our fate in terms of sanction, tariff, embargo, all these things? Dog would have eaten our supper.
Correct.
So people have to understand that. The fact remains, Britain, Trump got rid of Stammer.
Yep.
They have to understand. In Canada, the Canadian government, he under stress.
Yeah.
Mexico, all over. Now he's going behind. What is Aman?
Yeah.
He said, "Well, look, I outside above you. If you were." He's gone now to South Korea.
He make
They
friends
are
there, man.
listening
He make up with the
supportive.
friend. He make up with the rocket man.
Right.
They kiss and make up.
So if you want to play stupid, the
Yeah.
thing about it is that you have to understand the name of the game.
Yeah.
The name of the game is your national interest,
Yeah.
and you have to dance that. You have to dance that.
And even big, powerful countries like China, they
So all who was
also.
playing Bajan and all this and zone of peace and we ain't this and we ain't want that and want to set up this prime minister to get tired. And when people hear they say they're hungry now, they would have been starving. And don't take that bait.
No.
You have to know how to play the game. Use the diplomacy, right? And I think she played it well.
Yeah.
And today, we all the better for it.
Yeah.
So I that is where I am. We're not living in the 1930s and that kind of thing, or probably 1720 and all that. We in 2026. We live in the age of technology or technological advances. We have AI and all that kind of thing. The things that these things could do, and we have to upskill ourselves in terms of our thinking, our understanding of what is required. And then you had people, and one example, when people were saying that give the children computer, it tells you the thinking and the mentality of the leaders that we had. Say no computer, stop that. They will watch porn, where all other countries were moving towards developing the skills of the children and whatnot in terms of the technology and that kind of thing. We will going backward. You have plants such as you have a refinery. You shut down that. You what you're telling me? Just the thinking of the people who lead us, and as they say, you must choose your wife bad or choose your husband bad. You have to choose your leaders.
Yeah.
Carefully.
Correct.
All right, thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Rollock. Yeah.
I recall when Marco Rubio met, it was Mr. Young. I think they were in Jamaica. He said, I don't know if that's when he was knighted and he became he said, I don't know if to tell you congrats or condolences.
Oh, wow.
I don't think we understand. I and all didn't understand, obviously, what he understood. Then. Good afternoon, caller. Good afternoon, caller. Yeah, I don't think we understand that the world is so connected. I can't swallow that visa story. Politically, it sounds like something.
Right.
You know, like all it Or they tell mommy and me. You know? But that's the American consulate explain that that's not how they work. You know? There will not be a consulate if anybody could come to them and say, hey, I hear Stephen Auntie up there illegally. Take back the visa, eh? You know, we have this view of things. We have this really, really, you know, everything is a Nancy the spider kind of, a bacchanal. You know, the American consulate will do what they have to do, whatever reason. What I do understand is if you don't like America, and you don't like the American president, what does it matter to you? You should be rejoiced. But just what you said. You said that before. You said, who cares? What they could do, take back the visa. But you was hoping that they didn't take it back. Well, yeah, well, they didn't forget, huh?
Yep.
They didn't forget.
Yep.
And they took it for whatever reason. Now, it's some Moya make them take it. Stephen telling me. This one mouth pass on me. I don't understand. Good afternoon, caller.
How's that? A pleasant good evening,
Good
each
evening.
and everybody.
Good evening, caller. Did you sell out Dr. Rowley, sir?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
I am guilty.
All right.
Because what went on, I was going down the 4th show. Right? And I meet up on the 5th show.
All right.
And I meet on the 5th show.
Yes.
And I was cutting some special tree by Peaks Day.
Uh-huh.
And the tree, I see the branch fall on a human being, a female origin. And then I see a good Samaritan, like they see the fella in the middle, close to that pretty lady there.
Yeah.
You have a nice afro like that. And when he comes to assist the lady to take the branch off her sheet, he rushes to coconut.
Okay.
And since then, you remember when he went to Nelson Mandela funeral? You know, he died after he served his time in prison and he be the president of South Africa.
Yeah.
Right? And a lovely lady. So when the Caribbean was prime minister, close to Venezuela, down in the corner, so. And she invite the same man I screened on, Mr. Rowley.
Yeah.
When he went down South Africa, they say, hey, we didn't invite you. The lady was so kind to say, this is my husband. And I walk with him. And that is how the deal went sour. Being a husband and not fulfilling your role is a bad thing, you know. I will tell the US, cancel your Mastercard or your Visa card. But you know what I like about it? When it had other people in government, somewhere in the Caribbean, they were given one of the award, the national award, to ex-consulate people, ambassadors for foreign country. I wonder how we are doing. But here what's going on. I have my Visa card, and I could go anywhere in the world. I just have to log on the internet, and like how I see the tree of all this evening, and I live stream and I see everybody I talk in real time. But umpire, you know, I went to a game the other day to buy ticket, but all sell out.
Ticket
I
away.
know a young boy. He had 100 tickets. He said, "Yeah, we're gonna give you a deal. 1,500 for one." I said, "Hey, where you get a ticket?" He said, "Here, what's going on? I have my contacts in China, boy." How that?
How that? He will get a PDO, you know. I am sure. I am sure.
The views expressed are not necessarily the views of the management of the Street 919 FM.
I was surprised that the Prime Minister even cared about that whole thing. The visa thing. I thought he didn't care. I was of that opinion.
My approach is a little different.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think maybe he is seeing something bigger than what we are seeing and what we are thinking, and probably he have more information on what is happening, because he was a prime minister too, and to a large extent I think he probably feels, and rightly so, or I might be wrong, that the government has some influence in probably influencing the Secretary of State or whatever to take or interfere with those kind of things. So I think, and I wouldn't be, I don't think I'm wrong.
Do you not think that's a bit far-fetched?
No.
For somebody who understands how diplomacy works.
If you understand, yeah, but the Secretary of State or that department, they have their information, they have their intelligence on what goes on and that kind of thing. But where they get the information from, the source of the information and intelligence sometimes is from our intelligence and our.
You think so? See,
so.
I think that's quite spurious. I do not think the U.S. really relies on Trinidad for anything. Who said information? This is the worst place to come to get information. Otherwise, you would be shopping on Charlotte Street easily. They would not put out the kind of things they put out are not savory for Trinidad. They have been on point with those things despite whatever happened. I don't know. I think as a prime minister, you would understand how diplomacy and influence works. That is like China's doing something tomorrow, and you say, well, you talk to China, or that is kind of, and worse yet, the consulate came out and spoke. They tell you how they do their things and why they do their things. Now you might say, I don't believe all you.
That's how I'm feeling with this thing. So I really appreciate the refreshing way that you are bringing it across to say this is not how it works. But just as a Trinidadian, when you really put it past,
you look over the source.
I just wondering, because why the two of them? The US don't have issues with Trinidad and Tobago per se. So I just wonder.
Well, let me tell you why the two of them. Because before Ms. Bozard Bissessa came in the power, they had a lot of things to say about U.S.-Trini relationships. They were very vocal about it. That didn't go.
Saying the U.S. might have been listening.
But not might have been.
Well,
they have been. Marco Rubio said to the gentleman, condolences. I don't have to tell you condolences or congratulations. What was Marco Rubio saying to him? He was the then in transition person. What did Marco Rubio know? Listen to me. This is not Venezuela you're dealing with, no. This is not Tobago either. This is the US. What do you mean if? If they know?
The eyes on everything.
Especially somebody of that level. They might know going on with me and you and my granny. But somebody of that level. Good afternoon, caller. Good afternoon, caller.
Good afternoon to the empires.
Good afternoon, sir.
And the rest of the universe. I sometimes feel, I know that we Begonians are gullible for certain things. Things that be right in our face, and they say, we come up with, we ain't see, we ain't know, we ain't sure, we have to get evidence. You see, how does things start? When it starts? When this bacchanal and all this kind of thing in the history of Trinidad? When these things come about? when sanction mentions in Trinidad, when all these things start, how it start? We play, we see that, and we don't know how it happens. Eh? Why we just do that? Eh? Why we Trinidadians are gullible for gossip and all kind of thing? It have these influencers, people putting out things out there now, and it have people who gullible just taking it up. You understand? And people who got facts that show the history of that kind of politics, we know how it starts. Yeah? And it's going on a route that is very terrible. And we go turn on and say, we don't know. Yes, sure. And they write in our face. So you all have a good day. I will listen.
Thank you, caller. I agree with the caller. I have been following Trini-US relations prior to Miss Persa's Bissessa and listen to the rhetoric when we said very openly things as a Caribbean about the US. Very open. They can do what they want. What they going to do? You think that goes? Good afternoon, caller.
Hey, how are you going?
Good afternoon.
Mr. Matterson, how are you?
I'm great.
I agree with you. What you said just now. Okay?
Okay.
It was one time I agree with you. You know just how we banter, right?
Yes, caller.
This
Go
evening,
ahead.
I agree with you. I don't care where Rolex is. let me say this. That visa, what Mr. Rowley talking about, so good is for the whole world or is for just the state alone?
Explain.
I think all he always say he
No,
loses.
you want to know if it's just for the US or if
it's for the US alone or the whole world?
No, it's a US visa. It's US.
Oh, okay. Dr. Oli must go in there since he was about 20 years.
Correct.
He's 70 something now.
Correct.
I don't believe you are no interest in going there.
And he said so. Caller, hold on. He said so openly. Ms. Persa's Bissessa was not the prime minister. He was the sitting prime. Hold on. He was the sitting prime minister, and he said so. He said, "Listen to me. At my age, you know what are you going to do? Take back."
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree.
That is why what Matterson say is correct. He's not talking about he must be set up go there. It come like he living and going down Scarborough. When he insists he had to go back to the States for. This is the point I'm making. That is why I agree with Matterson this evening. You understand? Sorry to go to the States. No. We only above that. Only have a nice season and I go.
Thank you.
Well, there are different reasons why I don't want to go down that will get a little personal. But he does do medical there, and that's a very good reason. All of us who does talk about Uncle Sam does end up going there. When push come to shove, once we could get on that plane, we gone, at the end of the day. Good afternoon, caller.
Good afternoon again. You know, it doesn't really matter whether Dr. Rowley visa was revoked or not, you know. And it doesn't even matter if it had political interference, right? Dr. Rowley is well aware of the facts of life in terms of how connected some people are and how people use their positions either to their benefit or to disenfranchise other persons. But it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
At this point, it does, and especially based on his utterances, it doesn't matter. But this is what I'm saying. The media should have asked him, so Dr. Rowley, why are you making this statement now when you had no issue, when you said you would not have no issue if you lost your visa based on the stance you was taken and whatnot? You understand why you're making it an issue now?
And caller, that statement and all shows that he understood what may have been the potential repercussions for making outward statement. And if you stand by your word, and I wasn't angry at him because he said he was making a stand in terms of of sovereignty. But if you stand up brave, you can't call bluff, you know. Don't call me bluff.
When you're making a whole hullabaloo about now for the stance that you take, and whether it was politically influenced or not, it is besides the point.
Correct.
It is beside the point. You understand? You're not supposed to even say a word.
Yeah.
All other countries say for you to go and visit on the back of taxpayers who you ask to wait till 2027 while you ride off to the sunset. Dr. Rowley, go and put our sentiments with the monkey for the nuts.
When we were small, we used to threaten to run away, you know. Every time you get licks, you're gonna run away. Eh? Run away now. Anytime you get licks, you're studying when you're packing bag. You're packing bag, you're gonna run away. But you really ain't too sure. How that run away going to turn out, you know. Call her, I'll take you after the break because we're going to a break. I see you calling, so we just take you after 6. But some of us are saying a lot of things, you know.
Yeah,
we are saying things.
You don't really think it through.
No, your feelings. Yeah. You have a microphone. Courthouse for you. I will carry in court. Then you go on by the lawyer. The lawyer say bring 20,000. Oh, so much money. Yeah. You're threatening to sue everybody. I will sue you, and you're taking photo. We just say a lot of things, especially it's Trinidadian. You feel like Trinidadian has some nuclear weapon somewhere, you know. Defend we sovereignty, and we's a sovereign nation, and stand up to, you know. And when I was small, and all kind of Nancy Jew story, you know. One little earthquake, one little chairman, oh God. Who come and help? We have not known disaster. Yeah. We don't know disaster. We don't know hardship really in that time.
Yeah. You know, as I say that, maybe on the next hour we should probably deal a little bit about, you know, climate change and what's happening around the world.
Yes.
Looking at some
and the impact. And the impact of that, and I want you to take it to the extent in light of efforts in ideas of sovereignty and xenophobia. Because we tend to be very xenophobic because we haven't had to pull bodies out of a rubble.
And just now, there might be a great reset. Just now, we don't know.
Correct.
All of us might come equal again. What's happening?
And all the world, the countries around the world who specialize in these things have been sending help to Venezuela.
Yes.
So join us after the break on the Third Empire for more. Stay tuned.
You've got bills to pay, and so do we. Let's go pay some bills on the street 919 FM.
Mommy, your dream came true. I gonna walk down the aisle.
Finally, show me a ring.
Up the plane.
What?
With KFC and Copa Airlines down the aisle promotion.
Well, take me on the trip now.
Win an all expenses paid trip for 2 to one of 5 Copa Airline destinations with KFC. To enter, you can either buy an onion ring sandwich and upload the receipt, or upload a cool pic of you enjoying your onion rings with the hashtag #ShowMeARing. 2 winners will be selected, and weekly KFC vouchers are up for grabs too. See social media for details. Promotion ends September 6th and is approved by the NLCB.
Join us.
Strictly local radio show, blazing the best positive hits out of TT.
Hottest radio show.
Welcome. You are now locked in.
Every Saturday, 6 to 8 p.m., blazing the very best in Trinbago music and more, sending the heartbeat of the Twin Islands straight to the world.
This service is a massive communication product that aims to provide a new media platform for local TT entrepreneurs.
You're now locked into one of the hottest radio shows.
Send us your voice notes or call in live and rep your district. Whether you're in East, West, North, South, or Sweet Tobago, this is your show, your sound, your culture.
Hottest radio show.
Strictly local, hosted by the one and only DJ Flex 868. Don't miss it. Every Saturday, 6 to 8 p.m. Only on the streets 91.9 FM. The vibes, the culture, the sound of Trinbago.
We blaze all the best in TT. Hashtag rep your district.
It's KFC in the cricket. Crunch up that crunch. Crunch up that crunch. Crunch up that crunch. Doing it the KFC way. Crunch up that crunch. Crunch up that crunch. Crunch up that crunch. TKR all the way. Passion inside the
The Street 919 FM on Facebook and Instagram. Share the live. Iowa George on Instagram. Share the live. Iowa TV and Street TV on YouTube. Share the live. The Street 919 FM.
The Police Complaints Authority referred at least 4 matters to the Office of the Commissioner of Police for consideration of disciplinary proceedings following investigations into allegations of police misconduct. PCA Director David West told Express yesterday that the majority of these referrals were for neglect of duty. He said that after the recommendations made to the police, they follow up, and in some cases, officers are disciplined. Yesterday, the PCA published its summary of referrals, disciplinary offenses for April to June 2026. Part 1 on its social media platforms. The report listed the failure of officers to complete an investigation into an assault, neglect of duty in the investigation of an assault occasioning a wound, neglect of duty in the investigation of a sexual offense against a minor, and an unlawful search and entry into wrong premises. The report did not provide the actual names of the complainants, since these cases are currently not before the courts. Instead, it is referred to them by aliases. In one matter, Mr. X complained that in October 2024 he was attacked by Mr. Y, who was armed with a cutlass. Mr. X reported receiving 3 chop wounds to his head and damage to his vehicle. He said that he visited the police station more than 10 times to follow up upon the investigation, but no action was taken. An entry into the police station diary confirmed that 2 officers had responded to the report and that Officer A had been detailed to investigate. The PCA said it wrote to the relevant senior superintendent's office on several occasions seeking an update but received no response. It later wrote to the Commissioner of Police. Officer A was served with correspondence from the PCA in October 2025 but did not respond. The authorities said no information relating to the incident was found on the TTPS Versadex database, and as a result the matter was referred to consideration of disciplinary proceedings. In the second matter, Miss A complained about handling of an assault occasioning a wound reported at the Chaguanas police station in March 2024. She reported that Mr. B had pursued her, thrown a bucket of water at her and struck her in the face with the bucket. She was advised to seek medical attention and return to the station. She complied and a medical report stated she suffered a soft tissue injury. The PCA said Corporal C claimed that he had assigned Constable D to conduct inquiries and submit a report. However, Constable D told the authority that he had not been assigned or appointed as the investigator. The PCA said that there was no documentary evidence supporting Corporal C's claim or showing when the alleged assignment was made or what instructions were given. It concluded that neglect of duty may have occurred and referred the matter for consideration of disciplinary proceedings. A third referral concerned the investigation of a sexual offense involving a 14-year-old girl. The PCA said that the girl's mother reported the matter in March 2020, in 2026, after discovering messages on her daughter's tablet. Later that month, she learned that her daughter was pregnant. The girl identified Mr. Z as the father of the child. The mother also reported that he had given her daughter money and threatened her to remain silent. Statements were taken from the girl, her mother, and others, while Sergeant A was identified as the investigator. The PCA said an investigative report prepared by Sergeant A in September 2024 stated that the inquiries were continuing. However, the authorities said repeated follow-ups produced no evidence of meaningful investigative process. Sergeant A was questioned under caution in November 2025 and asked to provide his investigative file, which he failed to do. The authorities said the absence of a complete investigative file and the apparent inactivity over several years raised concerns about the handling of the matter. It recommended disciplinary proceedings be considered against Sergeant A for neglect of duty. The fourth matter stemmed from the entering and searching of wrong premises of officers while executing a search warrant. The complainant reported that in March 2024, officers came to a home shortly after midnight and they were looking for a person named Stevie and demanded entry. She said the officers claimed to have a search warrant before forcing their way into a property. The PCA found that the warrant obtained by the officers authorized a search of number 5925 for firearms and ammunition. However, the officers entered and searched 5924, where the complainant lived. The authorities said there was no evidence that the complainant or her premises were named in the described warrant. What jumps out to me, what jumps out at me in this matter, in this whole saga at first, and I want to say hats off to the PCA, and I empathize with them for their consistent call for more. I have a lot of issues with the data.
The only thing about that, while and I just want to interject here when you say hats off to the PCA. From reading that article, it appears as though exactly what is being said about the PCA and the fact that they seem to be toothless resonates among police officers also. So much so that they sometimes don't even respond.
Yeah.
Well, you
what the PCA do, right?
That to me is dangerous.
Well, you took it right out of my mouth because I was going there. So that's why I say congratulations to them. Because to continue to do your work, understanding that, for whatever better words, it was set up to fail, takes a lot.
Yeah.
Because this is something we've been talking about even on the show
Yeah.
couple times. The Police Complaints Authority referred at least 4 matters to the Office of the Commissioner of Police for consideration of disciplinary proceedings following investigations into allegations of police misconduct.
And that's unfortunate because it tells me that the police services are on to their own. They're on their own. They do what they want.
Compromised.
And
What is that?
what the objective of setting up the PCA was to do isn't being we're not achieving those objectives because clearly the police don't care about the PCA. It would appear so. Because they can't arrest nobody, they can't charge nobody, they can't send nobody to the court. So why not give them that power to be able to do that?
This is such an egregious, lawful monster that we have set up here that is so unfair to the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago.
Correct.
And the legal luminaries who came up with this knew exactly what was going to happen.
Yeah, this just window dressing.
Good afternoon, caller.
Good afternoon,
Good afternoon.
Mr. Moya. Mr. Magnus, hardly hear you. Good afternoon to you, sir. As we had this conversation last week, if you recall, and I said to you, the police service needs a level of reform. This morning, again, another police officer, after the one in Mayaro, here where they put you on. They put you on what? They charge you for what? Wrongful misbehavior in public office. And they charge a next one. So you had to ask yourself, who bring the gun and rest it outside the station? Is it the one that they charge for misbehavior in public office, or is it the next one that the magistrate just pull up? David West, I keep saying, and presently now, this administration cut David West and his salary. they what they call it, the service commissioner, whoever recommend an increase in salary for them, this administration tell them, no, they can't get it. Go back to me, you know how long, go back to if it's 2013, whatever salary they have to go back to. David West needs arresting powers. You see, he have no right to send no recommendation to the police commissioner. His body is an independent body. And once he could produce the sufficient evidence to charge the man, that is the powers that Mr. West should get. When he done his investigation and he have enough evidence to charge, he could charge the police officer, let them go before the court and defend themselves. Not with the money from the state defending them. Let them find their own money and defend their own self. That's how this happen outside it. In Trinidad and Tobago, we just send you on a 6-month suspension with half-day pay, and you pick up a security work by a Chinese, and if you look sharp, you could lose your life Friday. We had an incident just a few days ago where a policeman was slapping up an ex-man. Me, you and I was having the same conversation. Yesterday, I saw a group of people who are young man in Chaguanas, and people slapping him up, bust up all the mouth. I swear it was the police, and I get to realize it's a community. Okay, now the same dictates of the police. They took the law into their own hand. I wonder if that young man is still alive. So nobody can tell me that. The police service well, if you have a police commissioner, we get a raider. And the police commissioner was so brave to come to tell we the raider find a heap of drugs in the Caroni swamp, and I didn't leave my officers because I'm afraid of mosquito biting them. Do you expect anything different, sir? If a man could come to tell the whole 1.2 million and the world that and expect we to believe that after the company who making the radar say what them now say they can't happen. And he never come to apologize to us and say, you know, I make a mistake. And on top of that, I have I want to have respect for him, but Baby Hulk, come on, can't make a proper sentence. So what advice could he give to the police commissioner? All the talk they're talking, these same people was boasting about Gary Griffith and the Prime Minister went and take back the thing from the Service Commission. Why they didn't put Gary Griffith? Why didn't put Gary Griffith? Instead of that, right now he talking, everybody talking to see if they could get a little job. And the country going, instead of that, we putting up more stations. And the police of themselves behavior ain't changing. That was all the problem. I have in my station in Bataria, the police going nearly $1 million and we then just get locked up and get bail, and if you look sharp, he outside with $1 million, and if you look sharp, he go fight the matter in court and still win. They can't show me. By now, the police station in Trinidad and Tobago should be showing me the evidence of the policeman taking all the thing via camera to go in the court to use that. Like what we just seen in America. Up to now, this administration didn't go to the parliament yet and pass the law to make it mandatory that police, the police killed 2 men in one incident in our house yesterday, the day before yesterday. 2 of them. Both of them are fired. So you think about this. 2 are we inside our house with gun. Police running in the house. And none of we ain't shoot at the police and shoot at no police. We wait for the police to run in and raise up the gun and dead. That logical to you, sir? Enjoy the evening.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and the PCA director has to. He should not be reported to the Commissioner of Police about people who work for the Commissioner of Police. That in itself, I mean, I don't know who you have to be to understand that doesn't even make much sense. Who am I complaining to?
But there's another element to this whole thing for which we in Trinidad, we kind of like, it's either we backward or we don't understand what is how responsibility is leveled, right? So just like a hospital, somebody died in the hospital, because a doctor didn't do what he was supposed to do.
Yeah.
And that doctor or the hospital itself has a duty of care.
Yes.
On that thought to do certain things.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with the police service. You get chopped up. Right? Now, Baron, you could take civil action against the man for loss of whatever over time. But you get chopped up. You expect that the state come to your rescue, you call the police was involved to do the investigation. The police has a duty, the police service has a duty of care in a situation like this to attend to and to mitigate in that circumstance, or to deal with that, the perpetrator in those circumstances. And where you didn't do that, then I would think that you have the right to take a certain kind of action against the police service.
It is. You tell me all the people we pay and hire to do this didn't understand this. You telling me that? Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon again to the panel. I just called to congratulate Bataria this afternoon because I had to agree with him full 100, but I also had to remind him that it's not only this current government that didn't make it mandatory for the police officers to wear body cams while they are fully aware of the shortcomings of the TTS. The PNM is also guilty of that, Bataria, but I want to congratulate you.
Well, caller, before you congratulate him, let me correct something that he said, which is erroneously untrue. The High Court dismissed the lawsuit brought by the Police Complaint Authority Director David West and Deputy Michelle Solomon Bash. It was not the UNC. Justice Frank C. Prasad upheld that the Salary Reviews Commission recommendation to lower future salaries for the positions, ruling that the process was fair, rational, and lawful. The claim was brought by the PCA against the SRC report, and that SRC report recommended higher remuneration for politicians, but the PCA director and deputy director did not benefit from that. They challenged it. So that was Frank C. Prasad, not Kamala Prasad Bisasa.
Well, yeah, and there's a fair enough ruling that anybody should be able to accept, because I mean it really is not fair.
Yeah.
If you're leaving out the police complaints authority out of that lavish increase.
And this is open to challenge it, because this was the High Court, so I don't know if they did challenge it, and you sometimes find redress in the Court of Appeal.
Why would they waste more of taxpayers' money to carry it further?
Well, that's true.
We already had to accept the fact that the people who are benefiting most from the state wanted an increase and felt that they deserved it at a time when they were telling the entire nation it's not time for anybody else besides themselves and the almost 900 or how much ever people, right, that benefited from that. Is only them alone could increase double digits on increases on the salary. It's either 4 or 7 Dr. Rowley and them had to take. You had no business taking for accepting 47% and making and your excuse is that somebody would have taken the government to court. You would have never been afraid to go to court.
Well, the Police Complaints Authority Director has to complain to the Commissioner of Police for consideration of disciplinary proceedings following investigations. So which means the PCA did their investigations into allegations. And
well, as I said, I agree with Bataria that
yes,
should not be the case.
Of course, yes, he's correct.
The PCA is supposed to have their own recruitment drive to recruit their own officers that they are in control over, who can arrest, right, and put before the courts members of the of our law enforcement agencies.
Because they have their whole legal department, so it's not fly-by-night people either. You know, they're qualified, they have former officers, and they have legal minds with them, so they should be guided accordingly. But if you always have to go through the Commissioner of Police to complain about...
It's spinning it up in the mud. As Matterson, as we always point out, a number of things have to be done simultaneously.
Yes.
One of it is giving the PCA their powers to make the arrest after they do investigations and make their determinations, because who are we going to depend on? Guevara, who are telling us that we didn't see what we saw? when Joshua Samaru crashed the vehicle and put his hands out the window. That is who we had to. I tell you. But what's that? It is a real blessing to have a program like this, so that hopefully people could really open up their minds and think and really see what is going on, because this matter can be, or this issue can be addressed with the stroke of a pen.
Correct.
If our politicians will stop wasting time in Parliament to
Correct.
study who might think, who need a manpower audit, and who is what Zami and all a set of rubbish.
Yeah, Jamet. That's what we discussing in our parliament.
When they're supposed to be having a discussion about how we're going to structure something so that this issue, in terms of the shortcomings with the police, where they say they want to clean up the mess among them, but sometimes we what we see is in stark contradiction to that.
Yes.
So before the time in the parliament to say how are we going to equip the PCA so that what the police service don't catch by way of the good officers being able to root out the bad, the PSA will do the rest.
Thank you,
Not
Colin.
doing that. Look at what we're spending time within parliament.
Yeah.
And people still consume with these two colors. I feel that to ban them two colors in Trinidad and Tobago. Yes.
Oh, who go play cricket, boy? Who go play the match?
People will not come out and take us sweat.
All right. Good afternoon, caller.
Good afternoon, caller.
Hey, hello, good afternoon. Shumaya, Marcuson, and Nalo. But I just taking in the Empire. I know yesterday when I got a rain out, so they cancel the match and all that. Yeah, Karen, I love the contribution. I see my boy Chris agree with Batara there and they stop him in the track because he was going good enough. But you bring a little propaganda. I tell you, listen to Batara, he deserves a war, you know. He's a man, for all the years when we were battling on the radio, he's a man, he's trouble on the radio. Batara is trouble. Batara, because person remember, keep up the fight.
At least the man consistent.
But Chris, all in talking about the visa man.
What?
All they come to that Baccarat Kuchu as yet.
We passed that. We
police and them.
We passed that. Yeah, you know, come home. We passed that.
I step out there and come back.
All right. So is you complain? You complain on the Prime Minister when make him lose the visa?
No, remember what them was there for the last 9 years. And the baller don't man come Robertson and baller. What the match could do we? Them the USA, United States of America doesn't move and just so you know, them is what proper information, what you play. Small pin, docking in, bringing in Dodgy Rodriguez in the country. They were and down terrorist, trafficker, Maduro. Well, Donald Trump and them, the United States of America, that's watching it. So right now, Rowley and Stuart, right now, they're fighting.
Well, they could go to Tobago.
You know, America is a serious thing.
Yeah.
Well, Ronaldo and the nice young lady all have there. Marcuson, I see a boy come out, boy, and address the workers and them, boy.
That Marcuson, boy?
That's a good man. You was hiding all the time, but he come out. So I'm glad you come back and you oppose them hope and everything in the making. So they will get that 10% because you know that's the wrong table. You support me, I will support you.
Yeah.
So if them want to support now, that's what politics is.
Yeah.
Not like Roger, when Rowley put him in the wrong table and promise him the oil refinery and he didn't get it. He didn't drag mannequin like how you drag mannequin for 2010 to 2015. They sit down and eat humble pie. You see all the union, the what this, the what that, the all kind of thing. It's only when you see the government in power, they see all them coming out. And the last regime was the last 9 years plus, they coming out and fighting and asking for things what they want. All they must come out and talk when the two political parties, especially the PNM, because they run this country for more donkey years, and we community and we place supposed to be nice. So my question and my young lady, all the rich safe.
Thank you.
Yeah. But just to add to what Chris was saying relative to the need to strengthen the PCA ability to be able to investigate all of this, and as I've always said, to really solve crime and to bring back the kind of confidence and everything, what we need to do is we need to develop a multifaceted approach to doing so. So we can't just deal with police posts, we can't just deal with one thing. We had to deal with a number of things. We had to deal with a whole re-education, a whole reorganizing of the society, a whole revamping of some of the laws that are archaic, some of the laws that are not, creating loopholes for people to get out of. And more than that, we had to deal with the police service. And we had to deal with the police service in a very
the caller, Mr. Barter, was correct. He said so last week, when we were talking about IDs.
Right? So you can't just, if the police service can't be alone on their own. Right? Nowhere, well, there are a few places it's like that, but what I'm saying is you must have checks and balances. So if body cam becomes something that police officers must wear, especially if you're going and shoot somebody, you must have had a body cam, otherwise you're going to murder. Right? And the same thing with the PCA. PCA must be given the teeth to be able to investigate and to be able to arrest and to be able to prosecute and all that kind of thing. If they're not, then you're spinning top and mud.
And those are two things this government can do without much trouble. They do have the majority, and they do have, so that expectation. Barter, good evening. Go ahead.
This is not Barter.
Oh, okay, Mr. West. Well, thank you.
What I want to say here is this. I think you, Mr. Madison, and your goodly self would have said it. The question of police reform, police service reform. And even the PCA, as you rightly said, Mr. Rollox, how could they have developed or come up with legislation creating the police complaints authority and putting that level of constraint upon its working? I mean, that is inconceivable. You know, so you need reform. There are a lot of things that need to be reformed in this country. Changes here. The very said service commission, the police service commission. What do they do? What is their mandate? And nobody knows. But the fact remains is that a lot of work was left undone. In fact, it never started. So I won't say unfinished. No attempt, no effort. There's no evidence, and I'm not speculating. There's no evidence which would suggest that over the last 10 years or so, or 15 years or whatever it is, any attempt was made to reform the police service. You had Gibbs and those people coming in, but you need to transform it. You have to look at training. You have to look at recruitment. You can't carry on in the way you recruit people into the police service. It has to change. You need better quality officers. Everybody will tell you that. Anybody will tell you that. The training. So it's the task is, this government has a lot on their plate. They can't do that in 5 years. Everybody wants things to happen and changes, but you can't do what should have been done in a lot of work that was left undone in 10 years. And you want to do it in 17 months, and you can't do it in 5 years. No way. But you have to try to change things. Otherwise, even in terms of the police service itself, the police service, to those people in the executive, the public commission and those people, they are also tasked with creating reform or bringing about reform within the police service, and they can do it incrementally, on the job training and all that.
Well, caller, let me read from an article a while ago. Despite continued public criticism of Trinidad and Tobago Police Service in some sectors, thousands of young people sought to join the organization during its latest recruitment exercise. A response senior officers said reflected a continued willingness among citizens to serve the country. The number of applicants were estimated at more than 5,000, with 1,950 applications received at the Police Academy in St. James. Deputy Commissioner of the Police Administration, Junior Benjamin, said that the level of interest was encouraging and demonstrated that many applicants remain committed to serving in the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. There may be negative comments in the public domain about the service, but clearly, especially from the young people, they are still willing to come and join the service. They still believe in the service.
Fool looking for a job.
But he not saying what is the motivation.
Well, I don't understand. He takes this very.
What are the Well, these people say things sometimes. I want to know if they be thinking, and I don't know. But the point about it, when I look at the police service here, and I look at the police service of the CARICOM region, I don't know whether we can compare, favorably with those people. I don't think so. Every day some nonsense going on in this place here, boy. It's shameful.
And this article is so telling, with the examinations and different stages of the process, persons are going to be weeded out. So we have an examination problem, apparently.
But the thing is...
Yeah, but the thing about weeding out people, as I said, they have to change the approach in terms of recruitment. And I'm saying, because when you bring these people, you got to weed out, you got to weed out at this level. And when they get in there, you also have to weed out also. Because again, you have to look at the recruitment process. The people you recruited into, did you do the proper screening? All these things.
The bar is too low. We have always said that.
Well, this is it. And they're insisting they have to go along with that. That is what we want. That is what we're going with. Or you could say, well, they want. We're going with that. That is what we want. That is what, that's the message. And I'm saying you ain't going nowhere with that. And this is the problem with, again, there's no intellectual life in this country. Because even people coming out of the university, none of them saying anything. No. You have people charged with criminology and all these things. But I know for a fact, based on the evidence in terms of what goes on, and is reflected in terms of police performance, attitude, and all that all is not well. And you need to look seriously at it and come up with a better method or better way of selecting police officers.
Cora, I look at this a much deeper element, and we sometimes look at these things, right? If you just go to the macro, if you look at how China don't plan this year for the next 5 years, they plan for the next 40 years. That's how they get to where they are. Singapore, all these places. Singapore was part of what, Malaysia? Yeah. They had some problems, and they knew what they had to do. The thing is, what we need to do, we need to have a basic objective and then plan around that objective, right? Correct. Train people around that too. We know what the problems are in Trinidad and Tobago, and we need to fix that. For us to fix that, we have to plan to fix it. We can't just say we need to recruit 1,000 people because XYZ. You need to recruit 1,000 people. You must know what you're recruiting, why you're recruiting them, what problem you're trying to solve, and recruit accordingly. And that's the problem. And Seymour, you would know that as a training expert. You would know
that is the problem. But what has happened with that police service? The powers that be would have allowed that police service to deteriorate over the years. And it is what it is today. Nobody sought to deal with it. Instead of trying to deal with the police service, some people quite contented with bringing police officers from outside, from England and Barbados to deal with matters in this because of the trust and the inefficiency or ineffectiveness of the police instead of dealing with it in terms of transformation. That is the problem. And the question of recruitment, you recruiting people, how you recruit people, politically influenced in terms of who selecting people, who I ain't want this one, I ain't want this one, not this one, that one, this one I want. And all that kind of thing. Service commission business with lists and all kind of Mickey Mouse thing going on here. What you would have, the disaster that you now have. So I'm saying that we have to look at the police service seriously. Otherwise, we would remain in the rut that we are in today. And we need to get out of it. I don't know if people go and look to see what goes on in Jamaica. They have their problems there. But you do a comparison. You try to compare and see what they're doing and what we're not doing, because they have elevated the question of training and all that kind of thing. You evidence, you see it with respect to also the fact that they have enabled, the evidence is there, they have been able to reduce the crime levels in Jamaica. It's something, that is a reflection of the police service, the effectiveness and efficiency of the police service that has been brought about over the years. Where are we? We still, people talk about, yes, but you're under a state of emergency. They don't have the state of emergency there. They operate as regular, normal police. So we have to get there where they are. Look at Barbados.
But they did something similar to what we are doing. I mean, to be quite honest with you, I've looked at the research on a number of the countries that have experienced almost the same kind of spike in criminal activities like Trinidad.
Same kind of what?
Like Ecuador and Jamaica and other places that have.
You see the thing. This thing about El Salvador and also everything, people run into these things. I listened to a program in England recently, and it had to do with the probation, the personal health and probation in the police service, in the probation service there. They were thinking in terms of early release of prisoners, and they were thinking in terms of the impact, the effect that would have had on the population, right? And they were saying, talking about El Salvador and sending people to El Salvador and all that. And exactly, they said, listen, what goes on in El Salvador is not consistent with our laws, with our system. And the fact remains, we operate within the Commonwealth. We have watchdogs in terms of the Europeans and all these people, the question of human rights. All these things come in. So we're not getting the full story of what goes on in those. All people talk about El Salvador. But do we truly understand what goes on there? Do we understand the extent to which human rights are violated? So you have to look at that. The Latin Americans, a matter of fact, their system is far different. If you go to Africa in the Congo, or you go Rwanda and these prisons and all these things there, that is one of the reasons they were trying to send those migrants to Rwanda, and the British people objected to it in the parliament because they talk about cruelty, they talk about the harshness and all that, and the effect on those migrants who would have been sent there. Was it just the treatment that they were likely to receive? So it's nice to say, and you hear it all over the place, El Salvador, this, that, Honduras, and all these sort of things, but they don't meet the standards, our standards, in terms of human rights, our laws. So we have to be very careful. Thank you. I don't want to get too much. Thank you again.
Thank you, caller. Yeah, it's really unfortunate. Unfortunate is not the word. I dislike that word. What the PCA has to be going through in 2026.
Yep, to deal with issues.
Good afternoon, caller.
Hello?
Yeah, good afternoon, caller.
Good afternoon. Now, I heard you said I made a statement. Technically, has nothing to do with government. To see, but let me ask a question. Who financed that we call service commission. Who gives the service commission money? The state, right?
Ministry of Finance.
Yeah.
Right. So if my expenditure per year is $5, I decide to take Harry to court, my expenditure going to $7. Won't I have to go back to either the man who's in charge of who controls my entity, which is state, which would most likely be the Minister of National Security or Homeland Security, and then he has to go to the Minister of Finance requesting money for the, what they call them, PSA, to fight a matter in court. Not so? I believe that is how it go. I don't think they give them extra money that in case that happens, they could just call on a lawyer and call for the lawyer in the morning.
Well, you're right and you're wrong, because I do not know in what capacity was the action brought to the High Court. The two people understand that it's only two people. It's the post of the director and the deputy director, which they could have funded themselves. That is on the PCA side.
Yes. We talk about on the state side, the people who does recommend you for the increase in salary, man.
The Salary Reviews Commission, the SRC. Yeah.
Them who take, the PCA take them to court because they didn't give them what they want.
Yes.
And my question is, who funds them? Is the state funds them?
Right.
They have a budget. Just like how we assume the PCA must take his own money and fight the matter. That means that he had us to go through the same procedure that the SRC would have to go through in order to get our funding. So therefore, the minister must have had something inclination that here was going on. Them fellas taking the PCA to court because, or they are defending themselves because the PCA has just taken them to court.
Yeah, but my point was this, that what you speak of is true, but the timing of all of this happened a long time ago. This matter happened under Dr. Rowley. Dr. Rowley was actually the person who in the public domain had spars with Mr. West. It is not the matter just recently.
And I had a problem with that because I find that Mr. West, I might be supporter of the PNM, but I find any right-thinking citizen of Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah.
And we just blame the PNM, yes. But the PNM, in its entire history of running Trinidad and Tobago, never yet get 29 seats where they could go to the parliament and start changing the constitution and changes and changes and changes. They always have to ask the opposition for help. 99% of the time, the opposition always gives you a story why
they can't do it.
They can't do it. That is our problem.
Yeah. It's tit for tat, yes. It doesn't help.
Because let me just one simple example. I have a steel mill coming here.
Yes.
Right? And I told Mr. Matterson, this is not about steel. This whole idea is about palladium.
Yes.
The intention is to produce 50% of America's palladium. You know what that is? You ain't got time to produce no steel. Right?
Yeah.
But the same people had a whole ton-load of environments, this Kublai Singh, you name them, protesting over the steel mill, over the aluminum smelter plant, right?
Yes.
But then change. I could have a man making rim, making pot. I could have a multitude of things that I could have been exporting today to make foreign exchange. But you know what? The same people come today to give me a company that pollution is 10 times worse than an aluminum smelter plant. And you see nobody that is so-called environmentalist saying no. I have a man in charge of a community for 20 years. He's now the Minister of Energy. Went last week Friday and talked to some people in the community, and he come back and tell me Monday morning, hey, because he ain't talking about that. The Prime Minister doing all the talking. Hey, people in my community want the data center. But think about this. 1 year and 14 months ago, they was making noise about water. Them same people in that community was making noise for water. Where the minister run pipe all over, don't they think about, but them going and put up a data plant that takes more water than the entire community. Enjoy the evening.
Yeah. Thank you, caller. Thank you.
I don't know how this water argument comes up all the time whenever we talk about what I would say is a very progressive thing. Because we are surrounded by water and you could desalinate the water. I mean, if we just think, what is the bigger? I mean, we don't really have a water problem in Trinidad and Tobago, no. We have a distribution problem.
Remember, I had somebody on the show who was talking about that when the earlies.
Yeah, we don't really have a water problem. We have a distribution problem.
Yeah.
And a corruption,
and a wastage
problem, a corruption problem.
Yeah.
That's what we have. We don't have a water problem. We have water all the time.
Yeah.
We're trying to make rain falling, rivers, the seas, we surrounded by ocean, we have a desalination.
You know, everybody that comes here has wondered why an island surrounded by water. Our water problem.
Saudi Arabia don't even have a water problem.
People in the desert don't have water problem. But clearly from the article that we've seen on the police with the PCA, we understand that our problems are deeper than water.
Correct. Our problem have a lot to do with align with thinking.
Yeah.
Right? And thinking at the top and aligning ideas and strategy and everything to listen. If you work in private sector for all of your life, you will feel sick when I'm working at or just being around a state enterprise. You'll feel sick.
Yep.
I'm telling you, that's how I feel sometimes.
Why is that?
Why? Because the state is just the whole system, bureaucratic elements of the system is designed to be corrupt, one, and not unproductive and wasteful and everything. That's how it is designed. What you doing in private in state-owned sector, the money you spend, you will spend half of that on your business. You're doing the same thing and it'll be far more efficient.
But listen,
you know that?
I have seen the circus in the Public Accounts Committee dealing with the pharmaceuticals and the COVID matter. I've listened to it. I've listened to the questioning of the PS and his attempt to answer questions. And I will call the answers very schoolboy answers. It's clear that the chairman is on point with his argument and his questioning. But the PS is the highest public servant in the ministry. The public service has very clear regulations, you know. Just like how in the private sector the boss will have a contract. Good. Now we do understand that the age of these things.
Yeah.
So they would not have been able to envisage a lot of different things. But public service regulation is very clear. And there's misbehavior in public office. So is it a lack of regulations? It's the same people. It's the same person who would leave the public service and go in the private sector. But in the private sector, somebody will make sure that this does not happen.
Correct.
But they both have rules and policies.
Yeah, so it's not about the rules.
It's surely not about the rules. Good afternoon, caller.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Lawakita here.
Yes, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Yeah, how are you all going?
We okay, sir? Good.
Okay, nice. Because the reception on the station is real bad. So that is why sometimes I almost train my voice. I say, nah. And I find, like on Mondays, I tune in, just get the tune the show yesterday, but I didn't get through. Anyway, let me hear the topic. Let me see if I can make a quick contribution.
We were talking about the PCA having to report matters still to the Commissioner of Police for consideration of disciplinary proceedings. That bridle, that hurdle that is placed on the PCA director when it comes to discipline and investigations of misconduct.
You shouldn't even use discipline and the PCA in the same sentence because the PCA can't discipline the police.
The PCA can make recommendations, but it's the Police Service Commission who will do the actual disciplining and the core HR functions.
Correct.
Yeah.
It is the Police Service Commission who has that role and function. So I am, I feel I don't know if something should be done to quicken or the pace of discipline in the public service in general, or state employees in general.
Correct.
Something need to be done about that, because you have lots of people on leave. Some do they migrate and go. They go as migrant laborers to North America, Canada, wherever, and for sometimes years, and we need to be more efficient than that kind of thing.
Caller, have you been paying attention to the Public Accounts Committee inquiry into the pharmaceutical industry and the COVID and what happened during that period? Have you seen any of the clippings?
I saw a little bit, it's in terms of division of labor and chain of command is a whole set of issue. As far as the little time I spent, people do not know who they report in, 2 lines of reporting, all this kind of thing.
We could break it down, and it was broken down by the chairman. He said that there's no requirement for the CMO to be involved in tendering. That is nowhere in the regulations. And the financial aspect is handled by the Ministry of Finance. And the state had set up NIPDEC as an independent financial tendering procurement body. And they do not take instruction from the PS, from the Ministry of Health. No way, no day. And in its plain view, that is misbehavior. I don't know what else will be misbehavior. I don't know, and this is my problem, Mr. Matheson, with cause for productivity. You and I know if this was a worker in the mail room, he would have been in the industrial court fighting for his job.
That's right.
But there can be no indiscipline in the public service at this level without people of this high rank. They go unscathed. They just give instructions,
That's right.
When they talk, nobody back, Correct. They give instructions.
And they give instructions in very clandestine ways.
You see, there is a really lacking in chain of command, division of labor.
Yes.
And what they call inefficiencies.
Yeah.
Right. So we need an overhaul in every institution in this country, a complete overhaul, because every organization is problematic, right? And that is why we go forward. Most times we're going backwards because of that kind of inefficiencies in the state sector, right? So you see, another thing, what they call best fits. Best fits are not placed in positions in this land.
Yeah.
People, because of living a small island developing state, everybody know another, everybody have a compare somewhere, a macumba somewhere, so they will get a position. But in terms of execution, most people do not have that. And if I try to execute in a proper way, the people, other colleagues will be saying, hey, what he played, what she played, and they'll try to bring it up.
You use a very interesting word there as an HR professional. You say best fit. Sometimes they do get best fit, but they put them among a whole set of people that are not really fit. And what you have is frustration. That's where you have frustration. You get best fit, you might get a best fit, and you put them around a whole set of people who are not really best fit, who even know what they're doing.
You have to comply.
Right? And some of them you answer to them.
Well, that's the problem. That's what I keep saying. We must have best fit. You cannot mix best fit with people not suitable, right? Because for example, in the public service, when they creating a merit list, they always say a list of suitable qualified persons to to be employed when as vacancies occur. Because, for example, you call 30 people for interviews. They will make a list of about 15 maybe, right? But then, you know, who in terms of that is where you're supposed to differentiate, you know, at the interviewing panel, people who the panel believe are the best fits. You must have that capacity to think. You just can't say, well, you put in people, you get one best fit and you put in them 20 people who are not capable or not qualified and expect to get any kind of productive, any kind of productivity.
And well, Paula, I will redact just part of our judgment and put it in our colloquial terms. When you have best fit on a merit list, but somebody had a merit list in their pocket, the list ain't so meritorious, you know. You understand? When it is not, when the process is not transparent or the information is not known to all, when people tamper with the merit list, because you might see a merit list, but you don't like that fella, you know. You don't like him. All of a sudden, the list ain't good again. And we think and we tamper with people in the public service just like that. We move people like chess knobs.
Yeah.
Because
I was a victim. Yeah. I was a victim of a merit list in terms of where I wasn't, you know, treated properly.
Yeah.
And because of that, it stymied my advancement in the public service.
Wow.
I won't give much details, but I was a victim of that. And you know, I believe I am a very skillful person in terms of my qualification and things, and my experience. I don't make joke with that, right? And any interview I went on, almost 90% I will have come on the top of the list, right? But we have this culture bringing down people, right? Because again, people feel, well, you know, especially if, for example, if you're from one ministry and you went for an interview and you're from another ministry, the people in your new ministry now, once you come or you came on top of that list for that new ministry, they wouldn't like to see you walking around them.